Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here, and I have Tara Vaza-Miller here. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you for having me.
So you represent the store that I love and respect everything that they're doing, Knitters Without Borders. Can you tell me a little bit how the store started, but also your role in it?
Oh, of course. I just wanted to let you know that I'm very glad to be on your channel and thank you for having us. Knitters Without Borders LLC started with Mayu. She used to live in Arizona and she loved yarn and she wanted a reason to be surrounded by yarn and constantly have yarn in her life. So she thought, what better way than to open up a yarn store? So that's how she got the idea. And very quickly, soon after, she opened up her business, her store. It was a brick and mortar store at first, but she had moved from Arizona to across country, and now it's just an online store. And I was a very loyal customer, just like you. I loved the yarn that I saw. She carried some very unique yarns that I never saw before. So I was a pretty frequent customer of hers, and we started chatting. She's very kind. She's easy to talk to, and I found myself having a relationship with her, building a friendship. And she mentioned that she wouldn't mind some help. And I had just had my daughter. So I was staying at home. I used to work 5 days a week,
Right.
but now I was at home taking care of my daughter. And my hands were itching because I always have to do something with my hands. So I said, well, if you need any help, maybe I can help you. And it started with doing some Instagram posts for her because she's Japanese, so she does a lot of the Japanese translations, and I would do some of the English posts for the English customers. And then it grew from there, and now we're pretty much working together for the shop, helping to run the shop, making it a really nice experience for our customers. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty much how the store started.
Right. Well, this store, what I love about you guys, that you do a lot of charity work and you do a lot of work to spotlight some unique yarn dyers, indie yarn dyers.
Yes.
How how do you decide which yarn dyers you're gonna represent? Is that
Oh, okay. So that's a really funny question that you had asked because earlier on I had asked her the same thing. I said, how do you pick? Like, it must be very difficult to pick it must be a hard job to pick all these dyers and bring them all into your store. And she said, no, it's pretty easy. She just buys whatever she wants. She just gets the ones that she likes. So Mayu uh, she has a preference for cashmere, silk, camel, like very not so common yarns. Like I would call them very nice, luxurious yarns. So she likes to bring those types of yarns into the stores. Plus, like what you had said earlier, a lot of dyers from not the United, so out of the United States, just so that she can give them more exposure to the United States. So we bring in a lot of yarn from Japan, Germany, England, just dyers that maybe we see from time to time again on Instagram, but we don't really see in stores here. So it's just easier access for our customers. Plus, we like their yarn too. So she always teases and says that she was very one-sided until I joined the shop and I balanced it out. But no, I think we are just a very good fit for each other and we like yarn and we work well together and we want to bring these kinds of yarns that are not so accessible to our customers in the States so that it is accessible and vice versa, introduce US dyers across these two because she has a lot of connections because she is Japanese. So she has those connections that I don't necessarily have. And it helps with that business aspect too.
I love that because through her, I got to meet a lot of Japanese indie dyers.
Yes.
He introduced me to some of the yarns, and there is certain like specific aesthetics to them for some, like
Hmm.
it's really different. So it really helps try different kinds of yarns and different
Yes.
to expose you to different colors.
Yes, just different dye styles. It's very unique. You would think that dyeing yarn, like there can only be so many ways to do it, but there are so many ways to
Right.
do it. And every dyer has their own unique personal spin on it, and it's just fun to try to collect them all.
Right. Well, I mean, that's like one of my not dreams, but sort of like idea that's floating in my mind. I'm always thinking like there is always one color that I don't have in my stash, and doesn't
Mhm.
matter how big my stash grows, there is always this one more color that I don't
Yes.
have and that I need. So like having a yarn store is like ideal situation of how you
Hmm.
fix that, right? See, how did you change as a knitter with being part of the store?
Oh, okay. So when I had started knitting, I taught myself on YouTube when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I knitted. I didn't know gauge. I didn't know the right yarn to use for the right project. So a lot of the projects I made, I was disappointed in. And then I met Mayu, and then I got to know more more about the yarns, and she knows so much about yarn, and she was teaching me and telling me and being involved in the yarn community. I guess it's a broad term, but the yarn community is a very special, like the knitting community on Instagram. It's very special. They're so kind. We're so kind to each other, so supportive. And so there's so much information that you can share with each other, either on Instagram, YouTube, that you can learn so much. And I learned that I need to be patient. I need to gauge swatch, do all these types of things, like all these things that I never thought about. I learned from just speaking with Mayu, speaking with other people, customers in the store, because we encourage our customers to chat with us, ask us questions. We may not know all the answers, but we definitely don't mind learning and sharing those answers with them. So I feel like even though I say I've been knitting for 2 years or so, I'm not perfect. I still have so much more to learn. My technique is it's getting better every project. And I just see it as experience under the belt. The more I do, the more I learn. And the more I learn and the more I know, you're better informed to, have more fun with your projects. So I'd
How
say,
do you approach the projects? Are you inspired by the project and then you find the perfect yarn for it?
oh,
Or do you see the yarn and you're like, I just have to make something with it?
okay, Marina. I can't. Okay, so this question is a loaded question. So in the beginning, I would buy yarn, and I would think, oh, I can do something with this later because I love the colors. You want to collect the colors. I don't have this, like you said, I don't have this in my stash. It's perfect. I don't have it. And there's this thought in my head that I will never see it again. There will never be a color like this. So I have to get it now. So that's how I built up my stash in the beginning. But with the new year, maybe you have seen the videos popping up as of late, knitting from your stash or trying to low buy or not buy any more yarn or knitting with a purpose. So that's sort of the approach I've been trying to practice
How does it
lately.
work for you? Because it doesn't work for me or anyone else I know.
I know I didn't say it was working. I'm trying so hard to not be not buy new yarn. It's of course impossible. I'll buy one or two here or there, but I'm trying to be more purposeful. So if I do buy yarn, I would like to have a project in mind with that yarn. And I'm trying to tell myself I need to finish that project before I can go buy more yarn and knit another project because I find myself with yarn I bought maybe a year and a half ago, and I'm not interested in it anymore. Maybe the colors are not what I wanted to use today as, when I did 2 years ago. So I when I went through my yarn a couple weeks ago, it took a while. I noticed that pattern a lot. There's some yarn that I'm just not that interested in anymore. So I had destashed some of it. And I think going forward, I will try to be more disciplined, try to finish my projects, not cast on so many things. And once I finish a project, I can treat myself to more yarn.
Well, you
That's
mentioned
the
that,
theory.
right? You mentioned that you're enjoying the knitting community, and I noticed that the store participates in a lot of events that the
Mhm.
community hosts. And like one of the things that you told me about that when Mayu started, she started with the Opal KFS yarn
Yes.
that
Mhm.
was for Tohoku earthquake. Was
Yes.
beneath
Mhm.
that. How important it is, and how do you decide which cause to support because there are so many?
Yes. Yes. So it's not a lot of, so every month our store, we donate to a few charities. We don't talk about it or market it a lot just because sometimes there's a stigma, maybe there's some pressure to buy yarn from us because we do these types of things, but we don't really want to do that to our customers. There is a time and place for asking for help. Like, for example, when we had the emergency sale for Tracy with Gary Knits, Gary Rides,
Yeah.
that's when we were we were telling people about it. Basically, we find charities that speak to us. Mayu and I love animals. We care for them deeply. A lot of the charities we do per month are for animal shelters. Another one is charity water, providing water for people that don't have access to it in other underdeveloped countries. Just these things that it calls to us. If we can help in a certain way and we resonate with that charity or with the cause, we would like to help if we can. So that's sort of how we pick our charities, I guess, emotionally.
Right.
You kind of feel for them, and it's just, we're not in that situation, but just imagining it is terrible enough for, so if we can help in any way, that's how we try to help. Mm-hmm.
Well, when I'm thinking about Knitters Without Borders, it just sort of brings my view of knitting into the thing, right? Because like to me, knitting is like another language. To me, knitting is the connection that you can have with a person that you otherwise might not have anything in common. You can
Mm-hmm.
like living on different continents, you can not have a common language, you can not even share the same political views or
Yes.
opinions or
Mm-hmm.
religion, but you will find this connection through knitting. It's like it's one of those, it's like music, it's something
Mm-hmm.
that connects us universally. What's what's your goal for Knitters Without Borders? Like how do you see this store continuing developing? Like what's the ambition for the store?
Yes. So I think that was beautiful what you just said. It's like music, like it's the same language amongst everyone, all different backgrounds, all different experiences. Yarn speaks that in its own way. It's therapeutic for some, it's sacred for some. Either way, it brings happiness because I don't know anyone that knits because it makes them unhappy, So, what we would like to see for the store is that it continues to grow and continues to be a support for those who want to get access to yarns, whether it's a consumer or a knitter or a dyer, an indie dyer, or a small business just starting out. We would like to build relationships across, not just in the US, but like you said, across borders. And that's one of the reasons why she named it Knitters Without Borders, because yarn can cross borders and things, minus customs, which is another story, but we can talk about that later. Um, it can travel and there's nothing stopping it. And it does bring happiness to people. And what we would like to see for the store is for it to strengthen those bonds, like relationships with international dyers to consumers here, and vice versa.
Is it difficult with customs? Like, let's touch on that because I just have a friend of mine who has
Mm,
a line of yarn and he was sending orders to US and all the orders that were shipped prior to December 18 got to their customers and everything else was returned to him with no explanation. Do you get
yes,
do you get frustrating situations like that?
yes, I think, yes, it's frustrating. A lot of the yarn we import from out of the country, so there are a lot of hoops, customs to go through, a lot of fees, and we try not to build those fees into the prices of our yarn because it would just be too expensive for anyone to want to buy. A lot of our customers are international though, and customs is so, depending on the courier, it can be so mysterious. There's no formula that I know of that can, at least that I know of, that we can calculate how much customs will be. It almost seems random. Like they just do whatever they want. So um, we've had we've had shipments come from, like, when we had wholesale orders, and we it was sent to the wrong, like there was a form that wasn't filled out correctly because there's all these forms and we didn't get it, but we still had to pay for the customs fee. Because we didn't get it, it got returned back to country of origin, and they had sent it back and we got another customs fee and we have to pay it, and not only do we feel it, but our customers feel it too. Especially Canada. I'm sorry to our Canada customers. I think they get a lot of high fees, and there's really no explanation why. The only thing we can say is, you know, just you don't have to buy from us. We don't want you to feel pressured to buy from us. But there are these custom fees that can be, I don't know, even, you get your yarn and then you get slammed with a customs fee, like right when your yarn is so close to you. And it's just really discouraging. And the customs fees can be almost as much as the yarn you buy, or even more. And there's really no rhyme or reason. USPS seems to be more reasonable. UPS and FedEx are kind of up in the air. So that's sort of the pattern, or the what we're seeing. But like I said, it's really hard to predict.
Right. Well, when talking about the financial point of that business, right? Like you can there are people with different budgets, obviously.
Mhm.
So you can get like really very luxurious yarn that's going to be obviously more expensive, or you can get some budget yarns. How do you decide for the store like that balance? Do you worry about that?
So it has crossed our minds. We do carry some yarns, like you said, that are very luxurious. One of the yarns we carry is actually by Red Stag Fiber. Josh has a beautiful yarn. It's his Ryad base. It's 50% camel, 50%, I want to say, I think it's right here, 50. Oh, it's 50% baby camel, 50% silk. It's gorgeous, gorgeous for shawls. But it's quite expensive. It's 40 to 40 some dollars a skein. And we should probably be charging more for that, but we don't. So that is a higher price point. So we try not to carry too many yarns like that because we want to keep the budget. Usually is, people they expect to spend what, maybe 28, 30 some dollars for indie dyed yarn. So we try to keep it at that. And although we should be charging more, Mayu has decided that it's okay. We can cut our losses there. So in a way, it's very fortunate, we're in a very good position to be able to do that and not worry too much about our business going under. We do have some sales from time to time again, and we do have discount codes, which do help too. So we try to keep it around that price. We actually tried to get some, I guess, more budget friendly yarns, kind of like drops. We looked into drops. We looked into knitting for olives, but a lot of these, I guess you could say, cheaper yarns, at least what we've noticed is they want a brick and mortar store, and they want you to sort of carry lots of their yarn, and we don't have a brick and mortar store yet, so we can't carry those yarns. So we tried going those routes, but so far it hasn't. We weren't able to do so. So for now, that's how we're doing it. We try to offer within that range. That's, I guess, customary, what people are used to, and we try not to raise the prices on that.
Yeah.
And we try to have lots of sales, like discounts and sales. So if you're a newsletter subscriber, that's where you'll see a lot of the codes. We make you read our newsletter, and then you can get the code.
Right. Well, we're gonna put the link to the newsletter here. I'll put it on the
Mhm.
description of this video. So guys, like after we're done with this interview, go and subscribe to this
Yes.
newsletter. Um, how else can my viewers support your store? What's the best way?
Oh, that's, you know, other than, if you want to buy some really nice yarn that's really unique, if you don't, you don't necessarily have to buy yarn from us. You can always talk about us to your friends, be a subscriber on Instagram, share some of our posts with people you think would like that kind of yarn. Because Opal, like the Opal yarn we carry is one of my favorites. The self-patterning Opal is known for their self-patterning yarns, but the KFS, it's the one that's associated with Japan. Like their designs are just so cute. Like they're so colorful. It's just so unique. Uh, Take a look at our store, see the yarns that we carry. You don't have to buy, but if you know someone that would like to, share our page with them, talk about us, tag us in some of your friends. Just spread the word. Uh,
And you carry more than just yarn. You also sell some accessory like stitch markers and
Yes, yes, we have really cute stitch markers, like really whimsical stitch mark. We try to curate things that you don't see all the time in most yarn stores. So I think Mayu and I would say we do a pretty good job, because these are all things that we would like as our knitters ourselves. So yes, they're like project. We have like needles in project bags that go with the needle sets, notions, stitch markers, really neat tapes that have leather cases or felt cases. It's just things you don't really commonly see. So we carry those, and we carry books as well. So yeah, we try to cover things that we know if we like them, we would think other knitters would like them.
do you think you became a yarn snob when it comes to selection of yarns?
Oh,
Being exposed to so many like luxurious pieces.
I know, right? What's funny? I don't, at least me personally, I can't speak for Mayu, but I don't think she's a yarn snob at all. She's very educated in yarn, and she definitely knows what's cheap and what's not. But for me, I feel like I like working with all types of yarn. I have some budget friendly yarns. I have acrylics in stash. I have drops. I have the Cascade 220. I just knit a sweater with that. So, I don't feel like I'm a snob, but I definitely do feel like I'm more learned, more experienced, more educated, that I can tell what yarn is good for what project. And in turn, if our customers or anyone has a question, I can at least relay that information to them. So
And I
they
feel like
know
it's
too.
very
And maybe they'll
important.
be yarn snobs.
Right? Like I feel like it's very important information because it's not that every yarn is created equal, and it's not
Mhm.
that you can make every project with every yarn. Like there are definitely some blends that better for
Yes.
certain projects, and I feel like that's like an important information that yarn stores can teach us, you know.
Yes.
So you're
That's
doing a lot of reels on Instagram for, or like going live on Instagram and talking about the product that you sell or showing some tips and tricks. What's your plan for that? Like, how do you see that growing?
Oh yeah, we we're trying to do more reels, lives, things like that. Mainly, I'll be the ones doing those, and it's a little bit more challenging, at least to find a good time for it. I know it can be archived, but uh, timing wise, when we tried to get together for this, I had a daughter that wouldn't go to take a nap. Plus, I have one on the way too, so it's it, I want to do more, but I know it'll be challenging. So I have a very supportive husband who is helping me with the kids when he gets home from work. And what I would like to see our shop do more of is reels or lives that showcase more of our yarn, because I think a picture is good, but sometimes video is better. Like you
I
can
agree.
change, like you could like hold it to the light and things like that. So I think video of a lot of the sharing, like later tonight I plan to do a live to talk about one of the knit-alongs we're planning to host. And I want to show the prizes, I want to show the yarn, like the samples of the project, and there's just some things that just translate better with video than photo and words. It's just me doing it and like finding the time to do it was challenging, but I think that's what we would like to do more of. Speaking of discounts or codes, as a way of saying thank you for having us on your channel, we would like to offer your viewers a special discount if once they watch this and they look at our store and maybe they find something they want and they plan to buy something, 20% off using the code Fiberchats with a capital F, up till February 15th. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Thank you so very much.
Mhm.
That's very generous of you guys. Well, I want to thank you for being my guest today and for letting me know like more about the store and your plans for it. And we're gonna put all the information about the store and how to contact you, how to follow you, and all of that stuff,
Yes.
as well as this promo code in the description of this video. So guys, go and follow and use that promo code while you have your chance. Thanks so much, Tara, for being my guest today.
Oh, and thank you for having us, Irina. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.